Hi, this is Happy from Pro Plugins, and this video is about the SequenceWidget plugin, which is also known as the Q Buttons plugin. And in this video, I'm going to refer to it as the SequenceWidget plugin, but these are both two names of the same plugin. This plugin generates a layout view with Q buttons, buttons that do go to the queue. Okay, so we have here 4 layout views that I already generated. Let's see the first one. It's the spot's position, and this is the actual sequence object, and these are Q go buttons. You have here also a toggle button that you can toggle off the sequence, and when you press a go button, then it turns green, so you know that the sequence is on. We have more sequences here. Just for example, you can have positions, colors, gobos, maybe effects. Now I just want to show you that this feedback here for the active queue is always in sync. It doesn't matter if you select it from the layout view or if you have a go button for this sequence, then it also updates. If you off the sequence, it turns off. You can turn it on again. Now these layout views are smart views because they automatically arrange the buttons according to the window size, just like pool window. Let's show that. Let's create a new. This is a sequence with just numbered queues, empty ones, 16 ones. I select the sequence and then I hit the plugin. I can see here all the instances of that I already generated, and I create a new one. It will automatically suggest the selected sequence, so just click create. That's it. And now I need to create a layout view. Let's make it smaller. And I just need to select the generated layout here, sequence 9 queue numbers. And that's it. So now you can see clearly that the buttons arrange themselves according to the window. Now you might have noticed that this layout view window does not have a title bar visible. Okay, and if you want to make it visible, you can choose here in the settings show title bar. Okay. Now I think that when you're building a view for playback during a show, you don't really need this. It takes half a cell in height. So by default, when you assign a layout view to the layout of a widget, it will hide this title bar. Now you might have asked yourself, how do you enable this title bar again after it's gone? So I'm working on a Mac on PC, and I'm hitting Control and Option, and while I keep it pressed, then the title bar is visible. If I let go, it disappears. Press again, so I can use that to access the layout view settings. Also, what happens when you press Control Option is that you have this corner that you can drag and resize the window, and when you let go, this draggable corner is gone. I guess in Windows it's Control and Alt key, and on a console it would be the MA key or both MA keys. Okay, now to configure this layout view, you can do it in two ways. You can either hit the plugin, and then you see the list of all the instances that you created. So here's our queue numbers, and you have your configuration here. Or you can click the plugin, and you see here Pro Plugins options. And here you can assign what's called the Pro button to some executor. Okay, so I assigned it here. Now let's see what happens when I click it. All the sequence widgets show now a configuration layout. Currently there's only this cogwheel and the sequence itself, which opens the configuration for this specific widget. Now, by the way, this button is common for all MA3 Pro plugins. In each plugin, this might do something else related to configuration. So now I open the preferences or configuration for this widget, and let's start by showing something, that this show sequence button. Okay, we saw it in the previous page, so you can see here it can be first or last or none. Let's add it. And you have the off button, so you can show it first, show it last, or none. So let's keep our sequence here, update, and make it bigger. So now we got a lot of empty queues. If I store to this sequence, a queue button is automatically added. If I open the sequence settings and delete, say queue number 1, then queue number 1 button was removed and all the buttons moved. So it's always in sync with the queues that you have in the sequence. Okay, now let's see about configuring the appearance of the queue button. So this is the section in the configuration for that, and let's look at 3 things. There's the text size, which is obvious, okay, and the width and height, so you can make them wider or higher in steps of half a cell. This is in cell units. Okay, now let's look at this widget that I generated for a sequence that has looks for the whole stage. I got 4 queues here. You can see here that each queue has an appearance and a label. Let's see the configuration for this. So here in the queue button section, you can see the label and appearance. It was overlay for the widget that we saw before, but here it's adjacent, which means that the label is next to the appearance. The position of the label, you can control it if it's on the right or on the left. The height and the width are also controllable. By the way, the appearances that you see here, I used a plugin that I'm developing, which is Queue Screenshots, which takes a screenshot of the 3D window and applies it to the currently active queue. I hope to release this plugin a bit later, in a few weeks. Maybe you're watching this video and that plugin is already released, so you can also use it. It works well with the SequenceWidget. Now let's talk a bit about renaming queues and changing appearances. The layout view synchronizes to the sequence, so any change you make in the sequence will update the layout. Okay, so you can rename the queue here, go, and it is renamed, or you can change the queue appearance here. Let's choose that, and it updates the button. But you can also do both of these here. You can use the label to label the macro foo, and it will rename the queue. You see the queue also renamed, and you can also edit this macro and change its appearance. Person. Okay. So these are all the ways to change the label and the appearance of a queue button. Now, in conclusion, before I show you how to install and uninstall this plugin, I just want to say that it took a lot of effort to develop this plugin. It took a lot of synchronization behind the scenes between the layout view and the sequence in both ways. And this plugin actually doesn't bring new capabilities to MA3. I mean, you can do all of this, you can do yourself with macros and writing and arranging the layout elements yourself. It just takes a lot of time to do it, and with this plugin it's so quick and easy and flexible that first I think that a lot of people that didn't really bother creating elaborate macro layouts with macros will now start using layouts more. And also those of you who did build complicated big layouts for controlling your show might find that with this way you're more flexible. You might in situations where you don't have enough time to create a layout, with this plugin you can create it instantly before the show. Even during a show you can do it. So I really hope that people start adopting this plugin and incorporating it in their show files. Now, of course, for this kind of grid, that you have a row for each fixture group, then the sequence widget is not really about that, and it's not the most efficient solution to create these kind of layouts. You can use multiple instances for each row to generate this, but I hope in the future to develop a plugin that actually solves this kind of grid solution more efficiently. Okay, now let's see how to install the plugin and get started. First, we have it installed already, so let's uninstall it. Oh, by the way, I think I showed it, but let's show it again. You can choose an instance like the spot effect sequence and delete it. So the layout and everything about it would be deleted. So you see that the layout is defaults to, well, layout number 1 in this case. You can delete this. But if you uninstall the plugin, then all of the layouts will be deleted. Now we can install it from scratch. So you click install and you confirm all the samples that are being provisioned, and that's it, you created it. And then now it's just remember that it's easier to select the sequence first and then click the plugin and create instance, because then this sequence is already selected in this configuration dialog, and you can just click create with the default values and then just assign the layout. Now you get this pop-up for the first time you assign a layout to a layout view, and it just tells you that we hide the title bar and how to re-enable the title bar in order to be able to drag the window and resize it. So again, you can simply create instance for the selected one. Okay, we can immediately create another instance for sequence number 5.